Hello lovelies, my name is Joanna and I am a needlework designer and I design under the name Mojo Stitches, and this is my channel where I talk about stitchy stuff. So if you'd like to hang around and have some company while you stitch, grab your stitching, grab a cuppa, and yeah, it'd be lovely to spend some time with you. I think the last time I did a video was just before Christmas, so I hope you all had a lovely Christmas, spent time with friends and family if you were lucky enough to do that, and if you celebrate. I had a lovely Christmas. Christmas Eve was kind of our big extended family get-together. So my brother and sister-in-law and their kids and my sister and her kids and my parents and everybody, it was kind of the big extended family thing on Christmas Eve. And I think I told you last time we were planning to have a Swedish themed Christmas Eve because a bit of a family history mystery has been solved, and my mother has discovered that she's part Swedish and she's thrilled. So we all had Swedish Christmas. I made this wonderful Swedish dessert, and I'm not a big dessert person, but this was really good. It was like this chocolate ganache thing with cardamom in it. Oh, it was really nice. It was really, really nice. And a whole bunch of other yummy things. So it was really fun. And then Christmas Day itself was nice and quiet. And I had my downtime after all the socialising, because that's a lot for me. So it was really nice to see everybody. I don't, excuse me, get the chance to see my nieces and nephews nearly as much as I'd like. So that was lovely. And yeah, I have a couple of little stitchy booky related things I thought you might like to see. The first is from my lovely friend Heather, who made me this beautiful Christmas decoration. Look at this. I've never seen this type of finish before, and I'm absolutely obsessed. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. She's done all these absolutely perfect eyelets and everything along here. Forgive me, I can't remember the name of the pattern or the designer because my mind's gone blank. Forgive me. If you do know, please put it in the comments so I can give them credit. But also big credit to my friend Heather. Isn't that beautiful? I'm really touched. And as part of our little Christmas gifts, my sister-in-law Jane is a big crocheter, and she's very good at the crochet. And crochet and knitting are like the two sort of like real crafty things I've never got my head around. Basically because I don't know numbers and I can't keep track of where I am. I know cross stitch, I don't do numbers, I don't count. I do it in a different way. It's all a thing. Anyway, she made everybody these little Christmas decorations. Look at this. It's a little teapot. That's just the cutest thing. I thought you'd like to see. Anyway, so they're my Christmas decorations. And me being me, I have some very brave family members who gave me books. And I don't normally get books as presents because I have read all the books. And normally people don't buy me any because you've read it already. And so I actually got books. I was really excited. I was very impressed. So we did a Secret Santa thing. So we all sort of got one present. And my little nephew Joshy, I believe, was the one who was giving me a present. And I think with a little bit of help from his father and a book list for me, found me this wonderful book called The Library of Fragile History. So if you're in a booky mood and if you're in a books about books mood, highly recommend. I mean, I haven't had time to read it yet. All the ones I showed you last time that I promised I was going to report back on, haven't had time. But looking forward to that. And my darling sister Sarah was extremely brave and bought me a book that I actually have already read, but I read the previous edition like 20 years ago and I've been wanting to reread it. So she found me the newer edition of a book called The Subversive Stitch, which is it's a excuse me, got the hiccups, scholarly book about embroidery and gender and all that kind of thing. So if you're in a scholarly mood, this would definitely be one to pick up. It's an absolute classic, and I've been wanting to revisit it. Now that this is something that I kind of do as a career, I would love to sort of go back and revisit it. So when I do, I will give you a full book report on that. And big thank you to my family who were brave enough to give me a present that was a book related thing. So I had hoped to have some time to read over the Christmas thing. I had actually, for the first time since I started my business, said no, I'm going to have a couple of weeks off. That lasted about an hour. Anyway, we have some really exciting secret projects that are coming up later in the year, and I did manage to have a little break from my Etsy store, which I'm very grateful for those of you who are patiently waiting, which allowed me to concentrate on doing some designing. So it was kind of like a little bit of a break, and totally, I hope, worthwhile for the secret projects that'll be coming out later this year. So I've also been super busy because I was working on designs, that were going to come out about now, and I got a call from Cottage Garden Threads, who are going to Nashville, which is enormously exciting, saying, would you like to do something that we can take to Nashville? And I'm like, yeah. So dropped everything. Those other things are still coming out. They're just coming out a bit later. And yeah, so since I can't go to Nashville, I'm kind of excited that at least some of my designs are going there. And I'm so excited for Katie and Pam and the team. It's a really big endeavor to get to Nashville from here, and they've put a huge amount of work into it as lovely, and they're just the most lovely people. So I have some new things to show you. If you've followed me or them on socials, you would have seen some of these, but perhaps not all of them. And I just wanted to go through and show you kind of what we've done, and what you can look forward to. So Katie was interested in putting together something that they used to do years ago, which were called Stitches palettes, which are just for flosses. One that is based on one of their super highly variegated ones, which they nickname and call Heroes, and the 3 colours that make it up, which they call sidekicks now. So the Heroes and sidekicks. So these Stitches palettes are something that they used to do and would like to bring back. And, we were playing around with colours and everything, and Katie wanted to do one sort of palette for each of the seasons, and one for Halloween and one for Christmas, with the idea that these are the kind of colours that you can just plug into all your seasonal designs and seasonal stitches that you're doing, and just have them there ready on hand to sort of play with in those sort of colour schemes. And I suggested a whole bunch of different colours and went through all the Cottage Garden threads I had, and I said, oh, what about this one? What about this one? And then, because I get a bit excited doing that. And then Katie said, well, what about if we do bookshelf threads? Which, as you may know, was my collaboration with Cottage Garden Threads was called the Bookshelf Edit. And the bookshelf is growing, which is not something I ever expected, and I'm just thrilled. So I thought I would show you the colours. And I have done a series for the 4 seasonal palettes, so that you can see how to use them and to have a little bit of a practice. And I will show you those too. These will all be available from Nashville. So if you're interested in any of these, please do contact your needlework store and ask them to get them in for you. So the first palette, we wanted to do a spring coloured palette. And I always think of pastels in spring, but I've never been a huge fan of a lot of the traditional pastels. I find them a bit candy and a bit kind of sickly. That's just my thing. But the pastels in the bookshelf range I really love. They're kind of dusty pastels. So we have, these are 3 colours that were in the original range. Austin, which is a lovely smoky blue. Foxing, which is a lovely sort of pinky, almost peachy colour. And Puffum, which is a really, really soft mauve. And Cottage Garden Threads has created a brand new thread that combines all of them. This is the hero thread. It's a little hard to see here. We've got a bit of a cloudy day. And look, these threads are so new they don't have names on. So I can't tell you how exciting it is to get them through the mail. And you're like, oh, no one's seen these yet. Anyway, so this is Alice. Of course, after Alice in Wonderland. So this is a beautiful combination of all 3 of these colours. And it makes a beautiful spring palette that will fit in lots of spring and Easter themed designs, and just if you really like soft colours. Now I have done a series that I've called A Stitch for All Seasons, which I've designed to fit all in the same frame that you can use for a seasonal display if you'd like. This is the first one, which is called Spring. I know it's a very obvious name, but you got to go with the obvious when you're busy. And that way it's easy for people to find. Now these patterns I've all done to fit in a standard, I think this is a 6x8 frame. This was on 32 count 2/2. They're fairly small, so if you wanted to stitch them on a higher count fabric, they'd make really lovely little pillows as well. And this has got tulips and Easter eggs in here, which is a springy thing to me. And all of the patterns have these bands here that I've done kind of to echo Bargello or Florentine stitch, but they're all stitched in cross stitch, so you don't have to worry about doing that. But if you wanted to, it would look lovely in that. And they all have a few little extra stitches as well, all really, really easy ones, just based on basic back stitch. And I think 1 or 2 of them, excuse me, have a few Smyrna stitches in as well. So all really super easy, and all can be done on Ada as well. So this is the spring design. And what I've done with these patterns, I'm trying to get it to focus on that and not my face, because it's weird looking in at the thing on your face. Anyway, I've designed these specifically for these threads because I wanted to show you how to use them, because a lot of people, they see the highly variegated ones, and I don't know if you're like me, you just buy them because they're gorgeous, and then you get home and like, oh, but what do I do with them? So I have designed these patterns to show you some of the ways that I use them, and also in the patterns there's some tips and recommendations of how to use them if you haven't used them before. So I find these highly variegated ones are particularly good for writing, for borders, and for embroidery stitches. So I've given you examples of all of these in these patterns so that you can have a go and you can see the fun of seeing the movement that they create. One of the things about cross stitch, which is one of its limitations, and don't get me wrong, love cross stitch, but one of its limitations is it can be quite flat. It can look quite flat. And this is the great joy, I think, of variegated threads, and of Cottage Garden Threads especially, is just by using a thread that has these colours in it, you're giving this beautiful movement and texture to your work very easily without having to chop and change colours and things. So I hope you will be inspired by this to give them a go. Excuse me, I've got the coughs today. I hope you'll be inspired to give them a go and to have a practice with these designs, and then start thinking of ways that you can use them in your other stitching, because I think they're really, really something special. So that is the Alice palette. That should say Alice on there with the colours, which is the kind of spring themed one. which is super pretty. So next is summer. And summer we based around the existing hero from the bookshelf thread called Mercator. And this is one of my favorites from the line, which I just adore. And in it is also, in this Stitches palette, is also Conservatory, which is a fabulous sort of mid olivey green. It's beautiful. And the colour Candlestick, which is a really, really useful yellow that reads as an old gold when you stitch it. So I use it in everything. And we've added a new colour, which is the blue out of Mercator, which was one of the colours I originally wanted in the range, so I'm thrilled, is this fabulous blue, this kind of old turquoise, which we've called Treasure, since Mercator is kind of like globe related. We thought treasure maps, Treasure Island, that kind of thing. So this is the beautiful blue Treasure. So this is the Mercator Stitches palette, which is the kind of summer themed one, which I just adore. These colours are all so beautiful and so bright and happy and cheerful. So I created the summer design to go with that. This is summer with butterflies and little bluebirds. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed stitching this one. I enjoyed stitching all of them, but this one I think was particularly bright and happy and cheerful. And yeah, they're all quite small, so they stitch up really fast. These are just extra big cross stitches, super easy to do. These are just a few little back stitches, super easy to do. And yeah, this is the summer one that I'm really pleased with. I think this came out beautifully. So that's summer. And then the next one, surprise, surprise, guess what's coming? Now, I know that we have different terms for this in the UK and Australia. We call it autumn, and I know you guys in the US call it fall. So fear not, I have both ways charted. This is the autumn pattern, and I have charted it, as you can see, to put in there so you can have fall as well. So don't worry about that. It's charted for both. This is the autumn design, which has got the beautiful, as you can see, the beautiful movement that you get from the beautiful variegated threads. This in the middle, again, it's just super long back stitches, super easy to do. I forgot to show you the threads. That's the important thing. Okay, the autumn fall themed palette is based on the colour from the bookshelf range called Fireplace, which I just love. It's got so many warm, kind of rich colours, like a beautiful roaring fire. So in that as well is the colour Gilt, which is a brighter yellow than we had before. A really, really true yellow that just works in everything. And my very favourite red of all time, called Leatherbound, which is just perfect for red of any kind. And the new colour that we added in is this beautiful brown that was in here, which Cottage Garden Threads have called Mahogany, which I think is perfect. And that is just such a lovely palette to plug into all your autumn and fall theme designs and stitching that you're doing. I just think it's gorgeous and so evocative of crunchy leaves and you know, beautiful cooling days. So I hope you enjoy that palette. That's the Fireplace palette. And the autumn and fall design. Design. I need more coffee. There's a reason I'm on my third cup. Busy. So yes, this is the autumn design that I think has come out really well. I've got little ladybirds in the corner there, and some nice autumn leaves. Now, the last one that I've done, the palette has 2 new colours in it, which I'm really excited about, because we were thinking of wintry colours kind of being things like rich berries and kind of those kind of rich colours more than snow and everything, because we've got a Christmas one coming up. So we were thinking we've used the purple from the bookshelf range, which is called Scandalous, and another, did we have chamomile tea in one of the others? Oh, it's too early in the morning, man. Yes, no, we had conservatory, that's right. This is one called chamomile tea, which is more of an olive than the conservatory, which I told you before. But anyway. And we created this, well, Cottage Garden Threads created this beautiful hero that we've called Shadows, which is this fantastic combination of this and a beautiful, beautiful new blue called Ink. Now, this is like the darker colour that's in Morrison, which is in the bookshelf range, but they're more tonal. It's got less of a variegation than that does. And this makes such a beautiful palette. I'm kind of thinking it's my favourite, but I'm not sure. Really fond of it anyway. It's a beautiful, beautiful combination of colours. Shadows is absolutely gorgeous. And what I did with that is to create the winter pattern, which has got snowflakes and mittens. So like I said, these are all really quick and easy to stitch. Again, if you wanted to stitch them on a higher count, they'd make beautiful little pillows. And they all fit in the same frame. So my idea was that you would just use the same frame and pop them in and out as you change your seasonal display. Or if you just wanted to stitch one, go for it. That's kind of my idea, and as a way for you to have a bit of a play with these threads if you hadn't tried them before, or to try the new colours if you have. And I really hope you enjoy them, and that these give you a lovely taste of what you can do with them, because I have designed these specifically for these threads. Yeah, like I said, I've got tips and tricks on the pattern and a few little recommendations, and you can have, it's so much, they're fun to stitch with because you can deliberately place them if you want to. Think of like fussy cutting or something. If you want a bit of blue there, you can start with blue. Or you can have the fun of just seeing how things end up as you stitch and to see the beautiful movement. It's, for me, it adds a lot of interest and fun, and it makes everything very personal because each piece looks different because of the way that you stitch it. And even if you stitch the same motif, they can all be completely different if you take a different stitch path or use a different part of the thread. And that, again, adds such lovely complexity and depth and movement to your stitching, which I hope you will enjoy. So they are the Stitch for All Seasons patterns. They're all stitched on 32 count, I think it's soft ivory from Zweigart. My brain's tired. It's on the pattern, I just can't remember now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's soft ivory, but yeah, I just wanted something that really made the colours sing. So of course you can stitch that on anything that you would like. So yes, if you are interested in any of them, I would be very, very grateful if you could let your L&S know. And there are also 2 more Stitches palettes that Cottage Garden Threads are bringing out that I will be doing a design with later in the year. The first is the Halloween themed Stitches palette, which is these 4 colours here. My favourite black, which is a lovely antique black called Hearth, a wonderful variegated grey called Nib, my favourite orange, I know I keep saying this, but honestly, my favourite orange, I have terrible trouble with oranges, but Sleepy Cat's my favourite, and this is the new one that combines all of them, and it just looks like burnt embers in a grate or something. It's fantastic, and we've called it Mary Shelly, and we wanted something sort of Halloween-y and that would fit with the bookshelf theme. And Mary Shelley's a favourite of mine. I don't know if you know much about her story. She was the one who wrote Frankenstein, the original book. I believe she was 18 at the time. This is back in the 19th century. And yeah, she had quite an extraordinary life. She was the daughter of Mary Wollstonecraft, who was a very early feminist. She wrote the very famous book called A Vindication on the Rights of Woman. And she died, I think, 10 days after Mary was born. So Mary never really knew her, but kind of grew up with her writings and her example. And her father was a famous writer as well, called William Godwin. And I read one of his novels once. It was very weird. And he was a kind of like political, like very sort of like anarchist type. So they were quite revolutionary for the time. And Mary ran off with Percy Shelley, who was like when she was like late teens, which looking back on is like, she was quite the rebel. Anyway, Percy Shelley was by that time considered one of the greatest poets of his generation, and they ran off together and had this, tremendously romantic love affair. And yes, she ended up writing Frankenstein because there was this very famous story in literature where she and Shelley and Byron and his doctor and Mary's stepsister, I believe. Byron travelled everywhere with his doctor, as you do. Byron, bit of a star at the time, somewhat problematic. I won't go into details. Anyway, he was a huge poet at the time and considered this very risque sort of figure. And he was quite aware of his own greatness, let's put it that way. Anyway, they were stuck in at this, they were on like some lake in Geneva or something, as you do. I haven't read this for a long time, so forgive me. Anyway, and I think it was like they were stuck indoors for a couple of days in really bad weather or something. So Byron just suggested that they all come up with a ghost story. No doubt expecting to come up with the best one himself. And Mary, who was, not a published writer at that time, I believe, from memory, put them all to shame and came up with Frankenstein, which, if you haven't actually read, is really quite a remarkable book, very different from a lot of the movies and things that were made. It's quite a remarkable book. It's a sort of very early science fiction because a lot of it is about, has themes of, when science goes too far. And it's very sympathetic because Frankenstein's monster is this, didn't ask to be created, and he's, is kind of so hideous that he's shunned and everyone's terrified of him, and he's just like, well, I didn't ask to be here. And, it doesn't go well. Let's, spoiler alert. But it's really quite a remarkable thing, and it has a lot of very modern themes in it, and it is a good read if you ever find yourself in a dark and stormy night where you need some company. Anyway, she was remarkable, and to write that at 18, and yeah, she had quite a remarkable life. Percy drowned a few years later, and she had all these kids, and she is one of the, she had, quite an amazing life. And people write Frankenstein was published anonymously, so everyone claimed it was Percy who wrote it, and there's still some chauvinists who think that he wrote it, but it was definitely her. Anyway, getting off track. The Halloween theme. So that's Mary Shelley. So I will be doing at least one design with this later in the year, and I thought this would be the perfect colours to just plug into your Halloween stitching, because you've got the black and the grey and the wonderful orange. And this, I thought, is going to look fantastic with, writing and borders and foliage and also anything where you want a bit of extra movement and colour and excitement. So that's the Mary Shelley palette. And then the last one is the Christmas themed one. which again, like I've already used these in Christmas designs, so I will be doing more, let me tell you. This is the Ule Palette. So again, this is leather bound, the perfect red, cloth bound, which has got 2 greens in it and is perfect for Christmas designs, and a lovely age neutral called Page Turner, which were in the original one, and the combination which we've called Yule. And I think this is the perfect Christmas palette, so I hope you agree. These are exactly the kind of colours I use when I'm Christmas stitching, so I hope you will give that a go as well. So yes, more designs coming out with those later in the year. So, as usual, I have talked too fast because I get excited and then I realise I've talked too fast. Coffee. So that series, yes, I can't go to Nashville. Health reasons and, financial limitations. But I'm so excited that Katie and Pam and the team are going. And they're going to be my distributor for the patterns there. So they will be available at Nashville. The reason that we're kind of bringing them out a little bit early, a little bit now, is they've got to ship them over there before the show, which it's a long way away. Nashville's a long way away from me. So, yeah, it's all sort of happening a little bit early. So I hope you'll forgive us for that. Now, the other design, I have a former exclusive that will be released there as well, which is those of you who bought the special Hearts for Pam exclusives that came out last year. My design for that was called Zelda's Heart, and this is another literary quotation from another famous wife who is overlooked, Zelda Fitzgerald, who was the wife of F. Scott Fitzgerald, who wrote The Great Gatsby. And she's a very underrated writer in her own right. And this is a quote from her that I've always really loved. Nobody has ever measured, not even the poets, how much the heart can hold. And you can interpret that in several different ways. For the Hearts for Pam sort of thing, we were all given just the prompt of do something with a heart. So, of course, my brain goes whoosh in a completely different direction to everybody else's. And I wanted to do something with a quote because I figured no one else would do that. And I was right. So, and it's got this beautiful border, which has got, we all use the same colour palette for all of these designs. So if you buy the other designs, and there's a bunch of other designers that have released theirs as well. Janine from the Blue Flowers has just released hers as well, and it's stunning. Yeah, so this got a little bit of satin stitch here in the little hearts and a couple of Smyrna stitches, but again, super easy, nothing to worry about. This was done on 36 count spun sugar by Jay's X Stitch on Etsy, which is not reading here, but it's a really, really light, barely there pink. It's absolutely beautiful, so give that a go. And I use one strand with this. That's what I meant to say with my other patterns as well. If you want a more antique look, use one strand, and it gives them a much more delicate look. But I really wanted the colours to sing in those. So this will be available for the first time at, generally through Cottage Garden Threads at Nashville as well. And I think it's a very quick stitch, would make a lovely gift, or even perhaps like a wedding gift or something, I think maybe. Anyway, that's Zelda's Heart. And then last but not least is a bit of a special thing. Last year, Katie from Cottage Garden Threads re-released this amazing pattern for a work cushion that she brought out. And I was just thrilled. Once I saw it and I saw what it did, I was like, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. And in her pattern, she's got a beautiful embroidery there that she designed, and that comes with the pattern and everything. And I asked her, you know, would you mind if, because I thought this was such a genius idea, I wanted to make it available to cross stitchers who may not feel comfortable doing the embroidery. So I asked her, would you mind if I did a cross stitch for it? And she was like, ooh. And, you know, very kindly said yes. And when they were going to Nashville, she asked if she could bring it to Nashville. And I'm like, yeah, perfect. So I have done a design, well, it's an antique reproduction actually, that fits inside this cushion. So the pattern that I am doing is just for the cross stitch. If you want to make up the cushion, this is the pattern as well. Both of them will be available from Cottage Garden Threads there. Now the pattern that I have done is an antique reproduction of a beautiful little bird. I think I'm well on my way of becoming the bird lady, but can't be helped. And all these beautiful borders. Now this is actually based on an original antique that I found a while back that I've been wanting to do something with. This lovely little piece here. I have added just a couple of little corner borders just to kind of make it fit. So this is it here. Actually, I'll put it down there so you can see it better. It's originally done in this really soft pink, and it's got all these wonderful little tassely things off it. It's such a sweet little piece. I was saving it up for something special, and then I realized all those borders and things actually echoes the pattern beautifully. So I have, my pattern just has this in it and some tips for putting it together and making sure it fits with Katie's work cushion pattern. So if you'd like to make up the cushion, you will need both. Otherwise, if you just want to stitch this, you can just stitch that. Now let me show you why I was so excited about this pattern. Because, I mean, we all have a cushion, but this is really special because this is actually designed ergonomically to be a supportive stitching surface if you stitch while you sit, or like me, because I'm not well a lot of the time. I stitch in bed a lot. And Katie has created this incredibly clever thing. It has this kind of belt thing on the back that you put together with a button. And what you do, it's adjustable, so you can put the button at different heights. And what that does is that raises the surface of the pillow so that it makes, you can't really see here because I'm not far enough back. It raises the surface of the pillow so you've got a stitching surface and you can use it to rest your hands on while you stitch, which is good for your neck and good for your shoulders and good for your wrists. And as I'm getting older, these things are getting more important. So I was thrilled when I saw that. And it's just so cleverly created, and it's got, you know, a couple of different spots where you can like adjust the height so it suits you, so you can sit comfortably and stitch. And not only does it have that, but let me just bring that down so you can see. That's on the back, so it adjusts the height. And on the front, it's got 4 little pockets in the corner here, plus these little belts down the side where you can put, while you're working, your scissors, your threads. Actually fits the Cottage Garden Threads in there perfectly, fits your little scissors in there. So you can use it as your stitching surface and have everything just ready to go. I thought it was genius. So, I really wanted to make this available to you guys if you would like to use it. Forgive me, I've got hiccups again. I think it's nerves when you do this. Anyway, I have stitched this on, I think it's antique ivory, 32 count Zweigart, using 2 strands of leather bound. Now, I'm going to stitch this again in one of the Stitches palettes and do a whole sort of like blog and social series to show you how I take a monochrome pattern and use a Stitches palette to give to transform it. So if you would want me to use one of those Stitches palettes, if you would like to see one of them particularly, please leave me a comment below. Let me know which one you'd like to see me stitch this in, because I really want to show you how to take existing patterns that aren't charted in Cottage Garden Threads and show you how to use them. So I will be starting that soon, so please do leave me a comment about which one you'd like me to use, and we'll see what happens. Now, this is, again, I've charted this so it fits very closely to Katie's original pattern, if you use 32 count. However, if you did want to use a different size fabric, I have some tips in my version, in my pattern, about how to make this fit into the rest of the pattern that Katie does. Basically, these first lot of borders here, as long as that finished piece, I believe, is 10.5 square, it'll fit with the rest of the pattern, no worries. So there, yeah, I've just got a few extra little things in there to make that fit. Look, and by the way, I'm not very good at following quilting or sewing patterns. It's just not the way that my brain works. I did this. So if you're a quilter or if you sew your own clothes or something, it'll be a snap. But even if you're not super confident, I manage this, and believe me, I can barely sew a straight line. So I have called this Katie's cushion. Again, I was told that was not romantic enough, but I was so busy trying to get these done, I just didn't have time. It will have to do. I will try to be more romantic next time. I really love this piece, and I'm really excited to see whether this is something that you can work into your stitchy spot and that helps you feel more comfortable and more supported while you're stitching, and to take care of your health. That's really important to me. So I hope this is something that you're interested in. And again, both my pattern and Katie's cushion pattern will be available from Cottage Garden Threads at Nashville. So do let them know if you like that. I did, and of course you can do it in any colour scheme that you like that fits with your decor or just your favourites. I kind of made this a little more pink to fit with my little stitchy spot, which is my bed, because that's where I do most of my stitching. And I deliberately made this a little softer than the stitching colour, so the stitching really pops. So that's just a little tip if you want your stitching to really stand out. So yeah, they're the 6 designs that I will have at Nashville, which I wasn't expecting because, you know, I'm not going to Nashville. Wish I was going to Nashville. It looks like so much fun to meet everybody and everything. But anyway, 6 designs. Yeah, they came together rather quickly, so I'm very excited about them. And so many things coming up this year. It's going to be a big year, so I'm not going to get my time off because I have too many things that I want to stitch to show you all. Some really exciting things. Oh, and a very big thank you to everybody who bought my special birthday release, Echoes of a Garden Past. I've seen a bunch of you start stitching it already, and I was so touched by everybody's kind words and messages and everything. I can't tell you what it means to me. This is a fairly solitary job, and to hear all those kind things from you guys means a great deal. So thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it so much. I thought it was a very special piece, but I have more coming. So get stitching because, you know, there's a lot more to come. Now, I've clearly had too much caffeine already for 9:30 in the morning. I'm pretty sure there was something else I was meant to tell you, but I can't remember now. So I will leave it there for now and then come back really soon with some new pretty things. For those of you other designers and stores who are going to Nashville, I wish you lots of success and lots of fun. And yeah, for those of you stitching and looking at everybody's new releases and everything, I hope you really enjoy that too. And yes, please do consider supporting Cottage Garden Threads. It's a really big endeavour to go all the way from Australia, and I just really hope that it's a big success for them. I'm thrilled to have new threads in the bookshelf range and really excited to see you guys start stitching with them. So yes, do tell me which Stitches palette you would like me to use to stitch the cushion again, and to show you how to use them when you're converting a pattern. Do let me know. And yeah, I will be back very soon.